she showed up there. I asked her to leave. She wouldn't leave.
Bonnie is the one that comes to me.
And she started telling me that she was pregnant.
I don't do any of these things. He plays between the two women.
The witness, we can deal with that at the time. Okay. And so, Ms. Ringner, am I saying your name correctly? First of all.
Yes.
Okay. And then, Mr. Jackson, could you raise your right hand? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. And how is it you need an order against Ms. Ringner?
So just give you background history of what's going on. I met her, I think, March, April, 2 years ago. At that time, me and Dallas was broken up and I met her. Subsequently, we began our relationship again. And I tried to break my relationship off with Miss Ringner. I told her I didn't want to talk to her anymore. Blocked her.
Say it again, please. A little bit louder. I missed that.
I told her I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I blocked her from calling my phone. I blocked her on social media. But one night she showed up at my house. She parked around the corner, crept through my backyard. I was in my home reading, and she tapped on the door, and I was, surprised that she was there. And she started telling me that she was pregnant, asked me if she can come in. And I said no, because she's making commotion on my backyard. But I'm a local realtor, so I don't want the noise, the confrontation. And I let her in. She spent the night. The next morning, she asked, "What are we going to do?" I said, "Hey, you need to go your way. I'm going to go mine." And at that time, she said no. I said, "What do you mean no?" She said, "I'm not leaving." And I said, "Well, hey, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I got to go to work. You got to go." And she's like, "No, I'm not leaving." So I tried to pull her out. She was hitting me and fighting me, wouldn't let me escort her out of my house. I also tried to pick her up and take her out. She's kicking, punching me, wouldn't leave my house. She called the police and said, "This man is putting his hands on me." I called the police as well. When they came, I told them my story. She told them theirs. I got arrested. Subsequently, the charges were dismissed. But also during that time, she came to my hearing the next day. Unbeknownst to me, she took pictures of me getting put in a police car. She took pictures of me in custody that day. She came and picked me up at the jail, and we kind of touched bases, but eventually we continued to see one another. Again, I tried to break the relationship off. Sometime in October, she showed up at my work. And because she couldn't text me or call me, she was emailing me that she's in my parking lot. And if I didn't come down, she was going to come up. Well, she stayed true to her word. She came up and started talking to me. I left my office and went outside because obviously I'm in a real estate office. I don't want to discuss my personal business up there. I went and I just decided to leave because it was just causing too much attention. She put herself in between my door and the car, so I couldn't close the door. Eventually, I left, and I was working on the project, Your Honor. Sometimes I buy houses and flip them. I left the office and went to that project. I had no idea where she was at, but while I was in the house, just checking on the contractor's work, I heard some noise. She showed up there. I asked her to leave. She wouldn't leave. I was blocked in. And because of the previous situation that happened, I went across the street and told the neighbor, hey, I also recorded it. I told the neighbor, like, hey, there's someone here, and I just want you to be a witness to what's going on because it didn't work out the last time, right? And so a couple months after that, we're hanging out again. Shannon had been drinking. I had not. We were driving back from from South Tacoma way back to her house. And I was asking her about a conversation she was having with a gentleman inside one of the places we was at. And she just went berserk, started attacking me while I was driving, ripped out my contact out of my eye, scratched my face up. We almost crashed 3 different times. That night, I recorded her screaming and yelling. And then most recently, so there was a death in my family in Tennessee at the latter part of last month. And so prior to that, there have been confrontations. I know she takes anxiety medications. She also said she was taking weight loss medication. I have emails to support this that said it makes her irritable, mood swings or whatever. But because of her attacking me, all these accusations, I just told her, like, hey, I don't want to, this is done and over with. I'm going to spend time with my family. My family's mourning right now. And I left. Between the 3rd and the 16th, I have not had any contact with her, but she has literally texted me 177 times. She can't call my phone, and she can't get on my social media, but she's called me through WhatsApp 150 times. She sent me 20 emails, and inside these emails, she's threatening me. She's telling her kid's father, who's part of a motorcycle gang, what's going on, and she's having meetings with him. She's been to my house twice. She's reached out to my girlfriend multiple times. She's reached out to my girlfriend's kids. She's reached out to my friends. She's threatened to, call my mentors in the real estate world to supposedly take me down. She's posted things on Facebook of the arrest that I told you about, even though there's no conviction and the charges was dismissed. She posted that incident of me being arrested on TikTok and wrote this whole narrative that was just totally false. So I'm here because this needs to stop. I have not contacted her, and what she's doing right now, I feel very uncomfortable with what's going on. I mean, I know she takes anxiety medication. She blames it on her weight loss medication, but she's being completely irrational. And to top all this off, she has a weapon, and I feel totally vulnerable and unsafe.
Let me hear from her. And Ms. Ringner, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. What's your response to what I heard from Mr. Jackson?
So Mr. Jackson, yes, we met back in 2023. I didn't know about Dallas. I didn't know about he was dating another woman long-term also. I didn't know about these women until a year and a half into our relationship. And that's when things started spiraling, is when the lady, Bridget, messaged me. And Ronnie happened to be sitting in my office. So to back it up, so he can sit here and say all of these things that he wants to, I leave Ronnie alone. Ronnie comes to my home. Ronnie comes to my office. Ronnie comes to where I'm at establishments with my friends. So it's quite opposite of what he's saying. So when he put his hands on me back in September, when he went to jail, yes, I went to his house, but he comes to my place all the time. So he can't say, well, you can't come to my house, but I'm only allowed to come to your house. We're in a relationship. So yeah, I was there. Yes, I was pregnant by Ronnie. He can sit here and spin the narrative all he wants to. I showed him the proof of all of that stuff. So from my chart, we talked, we got into an argument the next day, typical normal stuff with Ronnie, deflecting, doesn't want to have accountability for having multiple relationships with women and all of these things. And so he got frustrated and he grabbed me by my ankles, dragging me around. His neighbor in the back saw everything. She was up there with her phone. He motioned like he was going to kick me in my face. He just ragdolled me everywhere. And I said, if you don't stop, I'm going to call the cops. He's like, call him. I got money. I'll bail myself out. So I called him. They came. They arrested him for the video that he showed. The officer came in and said, we're arresting him for the video that he showed because we believe he was the aggressor. So if I was this bad person, I didn't want to leave him alone, then why did I ended up in the ER from him hurting my neck from handling me. So if I was the aggressor and he didn't want nothing to do with me, then why was he calling me from jail, apologizing, taking accountability for stringing me on, for lying to me, for doing all these things? Why did I pick him up from jail, right? That night I took him home. We went and had dinner after he got out of jail. I dropped him back off at home. I came home. I refused to answer his calls. he showed up at my place. So Ronnie is quite the opposite, because he has this toxic relationship with every woman that he's with. So if I'm this person, then why does he keep showing up? I don't beg him to be with me. I move on with my life. He shows up. So, and for the court case that happened back in September where it got dismissed, I wrote the prosecutor and asked him to please not go forward with the case. I was working with a victim advocate through that. So, and then to the incident that happened when we were at an establishment and we got in my car, that month prior, he had already put his hands on me. He was threatening to slap the shit out of me. He listen, Ronnie will come off as he's, this secure man. He's not. He's very jealous. And so we started tussling in my car. I also have voicemails because he's infatuated with phones and things like that. And so he was calling my phone, and I have that voicemail, and I could have submitted that, and I still can, of him that night, October 5th. So the things that he's saying is quite opposite. We talked to each other mutually through WhatsApp. I submitted a video where he was calling me from my home through Alexa. And now all of this makes sense to me, because he was telling me that his girlfriend, who is there now, was his ex, and he started trial on the 22nd of this month for assaulting her and taking her cell phone and her daughter. So he's telling me that I just need you to stay with me. I need you to be with me. I just need to get through this court case. I don't want to be with her. I should have never messed with the girl in Bremerton where my life was, and all of these things, right? So what Ronnie's doing is playing both sides here. And so he can't have it both ways. So back in April, I was fed up because I just felt like things were shifting. He was lying to me. And I said, listen, if you choose to go be with her, go be with her. Leave me alone. Right? He's the one that keeps coming back. So it's really disheartening for him to sit up here and say these things, because this is the opposite. He's like, no. I said, well, maybe we can reconcile after your court case. This is really hard for me to handle, knowing that you have to be a part of her life when you want me to be a part of yours. I said, let's just pause this. He's like, no, because I know I'll lose you, this and that and this and that. So back on April 12th, something came up, and we were arguing about something, and I threatened to call her and say, I'm just going to tell her that I'm in the picture and all of these things. And he became so irate with me that he physically grabbed me. I started recording, which I have video of that. And I said, I think I submitted it to your court, but I also submitted it to Superior Court, because we have a court case on Friday. So all of these things, I started documenting all of this stuff with him, because I knew that Ronnie does not know how to tell the truth.
Okay, can you stop? Did you say you have a court case in Superior Court also?
So it's a restraining order, and Lacey PD has been trying to
court. You have a court case in Superior Court.
So not a court case. We have a no contact order, right? So right. A restraining order.
Can you let me answer my question, ma'am?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, it's cutting out.
Are you asking for an order against him?
No. I got one out of Pierce County in Superior Court. Lacey PD
Mr. Jackson.
Against Mr. Jackson, yes. So Lacey PD, the judge ordered Lacey PD to serve the restraining order. Lacey PD has been unable to contact Ronnie. He refuses to call them back. So I'm asking the court today why he's there, if he can please be served, because our court date for that is this Friday, the 30th.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I talked to the officer, and I told them that I would be here today at court. I have the voicemail. I talked to her. I told her I would be here today at court. And I told her also that Ms. Ringener was retaliating because I filed for a protection order. Yes, I did talk to them.
Okay.
The other thing is, I also filed charges on Ronnie for the assault that happened April 12th and April 20th out of Lakewood. I live out of Lakewood, so it goes to the Lakewood courts. So that's in the process with the prosecutors. And actually, the officer that took the original report met with me again last week for an hour and got additional information from me and more evidence. So at some point, he's going to face charges for those two assaults here out of Lakewood. As far as retaliating against him with the restraining order, I let Ronnie know that I was down at at Pierce County Courts putting a restraining order on him. He then went and put one on me. So I don't force Ronnie to be with me. I don't do any of these things. He plays between the 2 women, the 3 women, the 4 women, however many women he has. And he plays victim to this. I don't own a firearm. And even if I did, I would never brandish it or be malicious about it. The only person that has used a weapon against someone is Mr. Jackson, who shot someone and was charged with first-degree murder, found guilty, spent 23 years in prison. And he's only been out 5 years, and he's already put his hands on 4 women since he's been out. He has zero accountability for what he causes and creates. So I don't go beg Ronnie to be with me. He shows up at my home, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, shows up at my office, all of these things. So it's really disheartening to see here, but I knew that Ronnie was going to come in and spin a narrative to fit him. And that's okay, because whichever way you decide today, Your Honor, I will abide by that. It doesn't affect me if this is on me. It's just another way of him trying to control me if we run into each other or something like that, because Ronnie is super vindictive. And he's already told me that if I crossed him and I put what he's built since he's been out with his real estate at jeopardy, that I would see that dark side of him. His girlfriend, who's sitting in court with him today, I had a conversation with her the day that, I don't know, probably almost 2 weeks ago, maybe. And I told her that I was filing charges. And she said, Ronnie deserves to sit in jail. And maybe that will give him a chance to think about what he's doing. But she also said to me, be careful. I'm glad it's you and not me, because he knows people. So Ronnie is very calculated. So the real estate and public image that Ronnie, the facade is not who Ronnie is in the background. Ronnie, I believe, is a very undiagnosed narcissistic, but he's also very calculated, to the point where he had an issue with one of his general contractors recently within the last 6 or 7 months. And Ronnie, dressed in all black, found his address because he's a real estate agent, found his address, dressed all in black, and went to his house and was standing in his yard. And he laughed about it. And he was sharing that with one of his real estate buddies like it was cool. But that's just the mindset of him. So if he feels threatened that he's about to be exposed or any of those things, this is what he does. He runs this narrative. I've never begged Ronnie to be a part of my life. He continues to come back. And I'm glad that it's unfortunate that it came to this, but I'm glad at the end of the day that it did, because this nightmare for me is over. I just have to worry about my safety going forward in this court cases and this no contact order on him. I don't have to worry about dealing with any of his women anymore. I don't have to worry about dealing with his manipulation, his gaslighting, any of these things that he does. I'm so thankful that I do not have to be a part of that nightmare anymore. So for Ronnie to sit up here and say all of these things, Ronnie blows up my phone, but more or less Ronnie will show up to wherever I'm at. So he's also threatened to send an intimate video of him and I to my minor child because I wasn't answering his phone, in which I submitted all of that to the court, the text messages and things like that. I also witnessed him punch his girlfriend who's sitting in the court with him today. He's in cases with her in Kitsap County right now, and her daughter. So for him to sit here and try to spin a narrative about I'm this awful person and things like that, that's who Ronnie is. At the end of the day, I know the truth. He knows the truth. He's spinning a narrative to try to save his image. But the image is he's very twisted. He's very cruel. And I'm just glad that I do not have to be a part of this toxicity and all of these things that he has going on in his life. Ronnie's never going to change who he is. His girlfriend that he's with now is going to have to deal with other women. And I feel sorry for those other women that cross paths with him, because they have no idea what is going to happen in their life and what he is going to do. So again, Your Honor, whatever you decide is not going to affect me, because I have no intentions of ever having anything to do with him. He's an abuser, mentally, physically, emotionally, and he sees nothing wrong with it. And he gaslights you to justify, I've been in prison for 23 years. This is why I act this way, or I don't take accountability. He's a 50-year-old man, but he takes zero accountability. And so the public image and the private Ronnie are completely, completely different. Is there toxicity in our relationship? Yeah. But you know where the toxicity came from? All of the lies, the cheating, and everything that he's done and created in this relationship. So I don't really have nothing else to add to that. I just want to make sure that he is getting served while he's there, because we do have court on Friday morning in Superior Court for this, for my restraining order. So I'm just asking the courts to please make sure that he is served with his restraining order while he's there today, since Lacey PD was having difficulty getting a hold of him since the 17th.
Okay, so there's a couple things. I'm going to kind of work backwards there. I'm not really, I can tell him when the court date is, but I can't serve him because it wouldn't be appropriate for me to do that. And I'm fine with the fact that I don't have, I don't have the documents to serve him with. I will tell him that there is a court date. Were you aware of that court date?
Yes.
Okay, and what day, what time is it?
I have no idea.
Okay, what day is it?
I believe it's the 30th.
Okay, so ma'am, I just answer the one question. What day and time is your court hearing?
The 30th at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, so you need to be in Pierce County Superior Court at 8:30 on May 30th. All right.
Okay.
And so I've listened to the testimony, reviewed the file based on, I've heard Mr. Jackson testify. I've heard Ms. Ringner testify. She said the one word that kind of came up is that she had mentioned a couple times, which I tend to agree with, is toxic. And it seems to me like this seems to go both ways. This might be one of those instances where no contact orders are appropriate both ways, where both parties need to stay away from each other. And so, but the only one in front of me right now is Mr. Jackson's petition against Ms. Ringner. I am going to grant the order. It's going to be in place for 1 year. And so, ma'am, you're just not to contact him. And so, which kind of sounds like what you want. And
Absolutely.
Jackson, again, I'm not going to think too much of it. I have no, I'm not following you folks around. I don't know what's happening. I hear one story from here. I hear another from her. But even though you're not part of this order, it wouldn't be a very good look for you to go track her down and make any contact for her if you start to use this offensively, which people do sometimes. You're going to be subject to a court hearing in Pierce County, and if an order is entered there, you'll be expected to comply with it. And like I say, I think it's clear to me that you folks just need to flat stay away from each other. But I'll grant the order here today. You can wait. You can get a copy of it. And then Ms. Ringner, you're free to go. And then, did she provide an email where we can email it?
No.
Do you have an email where we could send the copy of the order? And you can put it in. Or you can get it off the Thurston County District Court website.
Okay.
And if you want to get it off the District Court website, you're free to go. We'll give you a copy of the order now. It'll be in place for 1 year.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Then Ms. Meach, I'll have you come back up.
Work often with people in other parties such as this, and you just can't seem to work it out. Don't resort to taking the law in your own hands.
We'll hear the litigants' reaction